ENZO is the Descendant that I can definitely rely on to tackle any content in the game without any issue. He can be the tankiest, the deadliest, and one of the best support Descendants in the game. My name is Wes, and I'm going to show you the build that I plan to use for the new upcoming boss, Stalker. Now, Firearm Enhancer is what makes ENZO an S-tier Descendant in this game. I know a lot of people have been trying like hell to get this module without any luck. If you don't have Firearm Enhancer, I feel your pain. And it took me a little over a month after the launch of the game to get mine. So right after I got mine and after exploring different ways on how to get the module, I ended up getting a few more. Therefore, I made 2 separate videos giving tips on how to get Firearm Enhancer. I know these videos have helped a few people based on the feedback that I got. Therefore, you can check them out if you want, and maybe they can help you out as well. I know it's RNG, but there are certain steps you can take to make RNG work in your favor. You never know. For any build, your first priority should be survivability, and any ENZO build you put together will be no different. The one thing that a lot of people neglect in this game is elemental resistance. You should never neglect elemental resistance if you care about survivability in this game. For this reason, let's talk about elemental resistance and how to integrate them into your builds so you can improve your survivability in intercept battles, especially the more difficult bosses like Gluttony, and in a few days, the new boss, Stalker. First, you should at least try to farm the immunity modules if you don't already have them. And the good thing is that all the immunity modules are all the same type of sockets, in comparison to the maximize resist modules, which come in different type of sockets. The immunity modules are meant to work in conjunction with your components or the antibody modules. Each component piece can provide you with a total of 3,858 elemental resistance. There is a different elemental resistance that can drop on each component. For instance, fire resistance can drop on the auxiliary power, chill resistance on the sensor, electric resistance on the memory, and toxin resistance on the processor. Now, each of the antibody module, when enhanced to the max, will provide you with 4,614 elemental resistance, more than what a component provides. So, if you don't have resistance in your components, you can use the antibody modules. If you have both, that's even better. But that might be overkill sometimes. In any case, the game always tells you about the recommendation for elemental resistance for each boss. Although you don't have to match that recommendation with the exact number, but you should always try to bring some resistance for your own good. That said, if you slot one immunity module in your build and you have a component with that same elemental resistance, you will be at least better off than not having anything at all. As you can see in the background gameplay with Gluttony, I have about a quarter of the resistance required, but I still survive a lot of Gluttony shots. That is a little bit risky. The goal is to try not to get hit by Gluttony at all, but it's a chaotic fight. Therefore, you should try to get more resistance than the minimum, in my opinion. Having said all of that, let me show you some of the best ways to integrate some resistance in your build. So you saw the Gluttony fight and I show you the numbers. So this is the setup that gives me the 5,900 and some resistance for chill. So it is any free solution, that's the 29% chill resistance, and the cold antibody, which is a 4,614 when it's max. So that gives me that resistance that you saw on the sheet, and the same thing that I show you at the end of the game play when I was killing a Gluttony. So that's one setup that I can use, but if I want to go even better, what I could have done is get rid of shot focus. So if we get rid of shot focus, and we also get rid of this one right here. So we're going to go with maximize chill resist. right here. So if we go back to the sheet, you can see that I have 12,950. That would have been a lot better for survivability. So you have those options that you can do this. Now for the build that I plan to go to Stalker fight with, so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna switch this to an R. And then we're just gonna switch this to an M. So we still have shot focus. If you have shot focus, you can use it, but if you don't have it, then use something else. So what we're gonna do with this right here, so we're just gonna go to the R. And we can get rid of this one right here. And then we're gonna use the toxic one. This one gives you the 180% toxin resistance, and we're gonna add the antibody, the toxic antibody. As you can see, they are both the same type of socket. They both are. So the percentage and the flat number are the same. So now with this on, if we go back to the sheet, and you can see that the toxin resistance is 23,472. Now, if gluttony is any indication, so the new boss might still be at the 20,000 recommendation. But the reason why I got so much is because I also have this one right here, the toxin resistance on my component, the processor. So that's the reason why I was saying earlier, if you have both and you put them together, then you'll be in a better shape. But I am not going to go that crazy. I may switch some stuff up, but for now, that's what we're going to go with. But now for the last module to complete the build, so if I go to the M, and I'm going to put multi-talented in. This is going to be my setup, and I will be good to go with that because I've been using this for a while. This setup I've been using, and I don't have any issue with that. Now, with this setup, this is everything that we're using. You can see what we have on the screen. So we're trying to get as tanky as possible. And if we have shot focus, we put it on. But if you don't have it, just don't put it on. So we have survivability and multi-talented for the cooldown when we use our dimension skill. Now, for our ability, our enhancer is what's going to make us do a lot of DPS. So what we do, we just drop this to the ground. And then when we pick it up, and if we go to the info sheet, you can see that our crit rate goes 96.92%. It's very high. Now, you will always notice that in fight, a lot of people don't know about the box, so they don't walk into it, but a lot of people do know. So the community start noticing that they need to use the box to get more DPS. So the ones that know, they will use it. Those that don't know, they might not use it. But me as an ENZO player, what I normally do, I just shoot it right next to them. That way they can walk over it, even by accident. And then that gives them the DPS. Now, our number 2, we hardly ever use. But for our shield, to get us some survivability, we always drop this on our back. It's a enhanced combat suit. We use that to give our shield back. And then our 4th ability, we just pop this up. And then it gives our ally infinite ammo. But the good thing about ENZO, we always have infinite ammo. So for infinite ammo, this is how this works. So you're going to use your 4th ability, which is the drone. On Xbox, it's the LB plus X. So I'm going to use it. Now pay attention to my reserve ammo. So I'm going to stop shooting. Started at 300, going to 360, 390. As long as the drone is active, then you are getting ammo back into your magazine. And I got to 440. And now once you activate this, you also give it to your teammates. So they're going to get the same benefit that you are getting as long as they are in proximity to where you activate your drone. That's one of the reasons why ENZO is so good. Now, for my reactors and component, this is what I am using. I'm using one with Enduring Legacy. That's the best one that I have. So with skill duration up and skill cost. But there are other options. can use skill cooldown and also skill cost. Whatever works for you is going to be all right. And then for the component, I make sure that I have HP everywhere that I can. Now for the sensor, we got max HP, max MP, and MP recovery in combat. That is normal. This is what you need. You should shoot for. And for the memory, I also have max HP on there, and it comes with some defense and MP recovery modifier. And then for the processor, I also have max HP, but it comes with toxin resistance and also max shield. You could have better stats on there, but that's what I have. That's what I go with. But I like it because I already have the toxin ready to go. Now for our stats, with 23,000 health, we are good to go. Not worried too much about the defense. I took out the defense mod, and I never have an issue whenever I use this setup or any setup without that defensive module. So we are good to go, but you can make some changes and then add the defense if you want to, but I am good to go with that. That's what we go with. Now, when it comes to the weapon, the main weapon is going to be Enduring Legacy. And I don't use any other weapon for whatever reason. They don't really matter in this instance. So if you see what I got right here, now I'm using shot precision instead of mental focus, but I do have the option to use mental focus. That's the reason why I have both sockets on there. Sometime when I feel like it, I use mental focus. Now, for the simple fact, once you let go of the trigger when using shot precision shot, then you lose the buff. That's the reason why sometimes I use mental focus instead of shot precision shot. But shot precision shot will give you more damage faster. So that's one reason I like to use it when bossing. But the rest of them, it's dealer's choice. You can do whatever you want. It is whatever is going to work for you, in my opinion. That's the way I look at it when it comes to building your Enduring Legacy. But I put the fire enhancement on there because it synergizes really well with the quenching perk. So if we shoot at this enemy right here, you can see that it got quenching and it's burning. So anytime that you use it, you can see quenching. That's the unique ability of this weapon. So what I'm talking about, so if we look at the weapons info and look at the unique ability, you can see you have the buff called quenching. So that's what you saw when I was shooting that enemy right there. So if you read the description, you can see what it does. So I don't like to waste people's time reading what the description said. In any case, that is the build that I am going to use. Although I do have some other option. Sometimes I use the shield build. This one right here, I just do the same shenanigan as far as the resistance, but this is what I use when I use the 1 HP build. It is a very good build that I use sometimes, but I prefer to go with this one right here because it is safer, whereas the other one, you have to manage your shield. Anyway, that's all for the video. Everything that you see here is what I'm gonna go with. You can give it a try if you want. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.